I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Well, welcome, folks. This is Draw 9 of the 2025 BC Men's and Women's Curling Championships presented by Best Western. I'm your commentator, Julie Herndier, so thrilled to be alongside Jordan Tardi. We're coming to you live from the George Preston Rec Center in the beautiful township of Langley. We've got a great matchup for you tonight, folks. We're bringing you a women's game, Team MacMillan against Team Pewarchuk. Your Team MacMillan lineup is lead, Sarah Loken, second, Lindsay Dubé, third, Sarah Daniels, and fourth, Kayla MacMillan. Team Pewarchuk, the lead is Sierra Fisher, second, Sasha Wilson, third, Kayla Wilson, and the fourth, Dailene Pewarchuk. Coach is Cindy Tucker. So just checking out the standings tonight, Jordan. Things are really starting to heat up in the ladies' side round robin. You kind of wait for the time at which you can start to make some calls about what's going to happen where for the championship round.
Yeah, it's getting close to the make or break point for some of these teams, and they're really having to take a look at the rest of the event and just put the foot to the gas and try and get some wins out of the last couple of games that each of these teams have.
Absolutely. And so here we are off to the races. It is Thursday night. It's our 7 o'clock draw. Both these teams are looking to remain competitive in the weekend standings. We saw that MacMillan went in with their first rock, and now Pewarchuk's going to take that out. Jordan, what are we expecting for the first end of this game, do you think?
Based on the first couple shots, I'm assuming that they're going to take the first end to just get a little bit more information on the ice with some hits, keep it clean, and start to work in a little more aggression in the second and third end.
Yeah, I'm such a fan of this myself as a competitor, whether it's the first game of an event or getting on in games. I don't mind a quick first end, check out the ice, get your sea legs, gain a little time on the clock. So I'm a fan of this kind of start as long as it's in the plan for the team. So even despite the little roll out there, that rock's still biting, and so Pewarchuk's going to go after it. Of course, we'd like to acknowledge that we're on the traditional territories of the Coast Salish peoples, and in particular acknowledge the growing relationships with the Katsi, Kwantlen, Matskui, and Semiahmoo First Nations. And of course, throughout the broadcast, we're going to be sure to acknowledge and thank our sponsors. Certainly, we wouldn't be here without their support. We're just so lucky and thankful to have a variety of supporters making sure this event is possible. For those of you who haven't had a chance to get out here yet, the George Pearson Rec Center is a beautiful arena. We have 5 sheets running tonight. And in fact, Jordan, since this looks like it's going to be another open draw here, maybe we'll run through the games on the other sheets tonight. Shall we do that?
Absolutely.
All right, let me get my trusty notes here. On sheet A, we have Corinne Brown playing Kristen Ryan. Both of them really duking it out here. Brown is currently sitting at 4-0 and Ryan sitting at 4-1. So that'll be a game we'll keep our eye on. On sheet B, we have Venance versus Jeff Richard. Sheet C, of course, is our featured game between MacMillan and Pewarchuk. Sheet D is Reese Hansen playing Sarah Wark. Sarah Wark still on the hunt for her first W on the board. And Sheet E, Haffley playing Jackson Bayer. Another important game with those teams both sitting at 3 losses and likely looking to make sure they stay there.
We're all there. Back line. We're big. Yeah, it's coming off. Go. Yep.
So a solid looking guard there from MacMillan, and now Pewarchuk going to the open side. I missed the call here, Jordan. Were they trying to get kind of around that rock its way out on the wings, or she just called for the open draw on the open side?
I believe the goal was just to draw to the open side tighter to the corner guard there. It was interesting to see MacMillan throw the center guard. So it looks like they're trying to put a little bit of pressure on Pewarchuk early here, maybe to try and maybe get an early mistake and try and get an early deuce just to have a little bit more comfort throughout the rest of the game here.
Yeah, I agree with you that I liked the call myself.
10.
Just a nice nose hit there. And now Pewarchuk going after it. Folks, we want to remind you that there is a daily 50-50. Each day there is a jackpot. Looks like yesterday's jackpot was a whopping $2,490. So I'm thinking the winner took home half. I'll have to check out what the jackpot's sitting at tonight, Jordan, but suffice it to say I'll be getting in on the action, hoping to be able to buy a few pops and french fries this weekend at this event.
That was a very good roll by Team Pewarchuk.
So satisfying to make a great shot like that in the first end. Hey, a little bit of precision, great communication.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with where that rock had to roll, the precision was quite high. And it's nice to go into the game feeling good with a couple of shots like that under your belt.
Easy.
Big sweep there by Sarah. Yep, nice shot, nice roll.
Okay. Same. Yep, next one.
Such a fantastic surface.
10.
Jordan, we've heard that the ice has been terrific this week, and we always want to give a shout out to our ice makers. By now, they've probably had very little sleep, and then there's not much ahead here going into championship weekend. So a nod to Mr. Merklinger and his great crew here. Last night, the draws were running like upwards of 15 seconds to tee, so we'll be keeping an eye on that tonight to see what it's like tonight.
Mm-hmm. I took a couple times for the first couple stones this end, and it looked like tee line was around a 15-3.
Whew.
And so it's a little slower than some of the other draws, but we'll see if it speeds up. It looked like earlier draws today, the ice started to slow down a little later on, so it's just something that the teams are going to have to pay attention to.
Hard to say. That curled more than I thought it should.
Okay. Yeah.
So a bit of an unexpected hit and roll out there.
Okay. Sasha's the hair fresh, but we had a rock down
And
there now.
Pewarchuk staying consistent with this opportunity of trying to get around the corner guard.
Mine's good. Team better. Team better.
We're running. T.
Curl.
pretty nice shot. Of course, when you're trying to make a draw like that, you're just losing rings, right? And when that, I mean, if we can call it a corner guard, is so far off to the side. So I think that's a lovely shot.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
Sarah Daniels here going to chase after it.
Yeah, I thought I was like wide side hook. So if you feel this a little more true, it might run a little straighter for you. Yeah. Okay. Take it. It's good. A little quiet.
Oh. Clean.
So Sarah delivering the Skip's first rock here.
Yep.
And a nice nose hit. Once again, Pewarchuk's going to chase after that. And folks, I promised you I would check on the 50-50 pot, and I haven't yet. So I promise I'm going to get to that between ends here. But in the meantime, a reminder that you can purchase your tickets at Curl BC.
Handcrafted in Canada. Hardline's ice pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best brew in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
All right, folks, welcome back. We are at the 2025 BC Men's and Women's Curling Championships presented by Best Western in beautiful Langley, British Columbia. I'm Julie Herndier alongside Jordan Tardi. We are in the second end, MacMillan versus Pewarchuk. Pewarchuk threw a blank in the first end, and so we had a guard and now a draw into the rings. And I just wanted to highlight, we talked a little before the break about our amazing sponsors. You just saw, folks, the Bel Air Direct folks are one of the great sponsors of this event. And did you know Curl BC members can receive exclusive home, condo, and tenant insurance savings? Yes, folks, it's true. There is such thing as tenant insurance. And if you don't have it, you can get it. And it pays to be a Curl BC member. So Bel Air Direct is a tremendous and very supportive sponsor of curling. We appreciate it so much. Penny Shantz was sharing last night that year after year, she goes with Bel Air Direct because she does get the membership savings. And she said, despite getting quotes every year, Bel Air Direct is always the most competitive. And curling fans are nothing if not loyal. So we appreciate the support of our great sponsor, Bel Air Direct. Back to the curling action here. Jordan, why don't you catch us up on the shot?
Yeah, so MacMillan's team was trying to come on top of the blue, just a little bit heavy there. The blue from Pewarchuk was in a nice spot there. It's in the control zone, and now they're able to split the house a little bit here and try and get in a position to get their deuce.
Yeah, so based on this start, I'd say we're going to have a few more rocks in play this end and hopefully see a score go up on the scoreboard.
Yeah, I think so. It's
Yep, keep going, girls.
It's set up for a little bit more of an aggressive end here. It will depend on exactly how Team MacMillan wants to pursue this next shot. Yeah, okay, so I believe there's going to be quite a bit more rocks in play this end.
I think you're right. I think you're right. I think we would even say it's on.
Absolutely, yeah.
So Sarah Loken here being called to make a draw. See if she can sink one around this guard.
Hard for Lineland. Yep.
To the top one.
So it looked like she just never quite had the weight or the line there, Jordan, because I think they called to sink it around that blue, did they not?
They did, yeah. I think it was a situation where they probably could have tried to sweep it there, but it was safer just to let it sit on top of the blue because it leaves them in a good spot, and they really didn't want to chunk and roll off of the blue rock there.
Absolutely. And we talked a little bit in previous broadcasts about how, you know, really being ready to call that audible shot or the second shot based on how things are traveling and unfolding is just so critical, and something you'll just see over and over again at this level of curling, where as a thrower and sweepers, you're familiar with the tolerance, and then as the shot unfolds, the skiff is really flexible about making sure that you're making the most or getting the most of the shot depending on how it's going.
Yeah, absolutely. And just the team knowing what the tolerance on the shot and communicating with one another where the rock is allows for them to make those decisions in the moment, because sometimes when you commit to the shot and you don't think of that secondary, you're going to be in a little bit of trouble when things aren't within plan. So it's good to see that their communication was strong on that shot just to make sure that they're getting some productive shot making out of that rock.
Such a great highlight. So that come around
11-5.
stopped at a pretty good spot, but
11-5.
there is a corner available for Lindsay to go after it. So I think they called for a bit of a hit and roll here, trying to hit all they could see.
Okay.
It was a nice roll there.
12.
Yeah, I thought that was a lovely shot. And now Pewarchuk going to try to take the play back over behind that
11,
corner
11.
guard.
Mhm.
Can't help
Nice
but
11.
wonder if they're hoping to maybe catch that back red one, depending on how they hit this top red.
Yeah, it's an interesting position because it might be close where you don't want to commit to the double and risk not getting the roll because it looks pretty close to getting one or the other.
Yeah, such a great point. Oh, we're getting really close to this guard. She makes it by the front guard, but oh, unfortunately crashes on the blue. Oh, but gets a spicy roll out of it, Jordan.
Yeah, it was unfortunate that that one over curled there, but it was a good reaction there by their team to sweep that behind the corner guard because it looks like they might still be second or third as a result.
Yeah, this is your draw pass, I think.
Yeah, great point.
Think we just
So Sarah Daniels currently calling for Lindsay to come right in there, I think, hey? So keeping the pressure on Jordan as she signaled with that call earlier in the end where it looked like she was going to really go for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
T.
You're gonna be straight.
T. Heavy. To it. Yeah. To it.
So a good sign here when the sweepers are off and on typically, although it looks like this is going to slide a little deeper than they were hoping, Jordan.
Yeah, the audible there out of the hand was around T line and might have been a hair heavier than that, but it ended up in a reasonable
Good 9-5
position
here.
there.
That's great.
Okay,
Yeah.
I like that.
Are we throwing 10?
10, yeah.
Okay, you got it.
Curl. Curl. Close. Yep.
Curl.
Curl. Whoa.
Okay.
So Kayla Wilson looking to get some granite moving around.
A little.
I mean, a pretty solid shot, Jordan, but you know, the leave there isn't fantastic for them, hey? And you really get a sense that things are building for MacMillan, or in this case right now holding the broom, Sarah Daniels. And if they make a bit of a roll here, I think we're going to start to be a little bit worried about how Pewarchuk is going to score this end.
Yeah, absolutely. If they can make this roll really within the
12-5.
a foot range here, they're going to be in a lot of control over this end.
This is really close.
That's ended up being quite good. It does leave the freeze here as it just called, but I think it
Top 4.
positionally is very
Or hair faster.
beneficial for Team MacMillan.
Right, and imagining, I mean, you have to think that their plan coming into this end was probably to force. So
Yeah.
they're, you know, doing a really good job of this by, I mean, they've effectively closed it down to like the pin for Pewarchuk to score. This is a really precise shot. And meanwhile, you can't help but wonder if they're starting to be thinking about a sneaky steal here. So,
Yeah,
really nice shot.
and they've really constricted the scoring zone for Pewarchuk, and that's actually a very good result. I think I can't tell who shot, but it's in a pretty nice spot. It just might leave MacMillan a freeze, which might lock down a steal if they can put it in the perfect spot here.
Yeah, they really just snuck by that red one that I think they were initially planning to freeze to, Jordan, as you say, but like not a bad outcome.
You don't really have any of that blue.
No?
It's got sliver.
Okay.
I like can't really come to it.
No.
And folks, we will catch you up on the scores on the other sheets here after the next break.
I don't think it's worth it.
But a reminder that you can see all the games tonight. We are streaming all of them, so you can hop around the world if you wish, with featuring this game tonight.
Like actually guarding the draw.
Sarah Daniels delivering the first of the skip stones.
Room right now.
So I think we're pretty confident, Jordan. She's looking for the freeze here.
Yeah, if she can lock it in right on the nose, it's gonna be pretty hard for their rock to be removed.
Oh, pardon me. I think they're throwing a guard.
Oh.
That's my bad, folks. To think about here in terms of how to score.
Yeah, I don't
I
mind
think
10.
just by the fact that they're looking at this, we can assume that red's sitting one. Would you say that's probably true, Jordan?
Yeah, based on both MacMillan's call, the guard, if that was the call, and this shot
Hard
here,
to tell what.
it seems like red
How
is
much space
currently
is
sitting
between
one.
There's a good look.
And I'm gonna give her a draw right back, but I gotta get that off the butt.
Okay.
So you just heard Pewarchuk
Are you
say,
hoping that
Dailene,
you're gonna
I know
sit
I'm going
on
to give
that
them a
one
draw
and-
right back, but we just got to get this, get access to the button.
Okay.
Yeah,
thanks.
for sure.
Okay, yeah, next 10. You got her.
So Dailene looking to move a little bit
We're
of
here,
red
big
granite
9-8.
around here.
9-8. 9-5.
So not the shot they were looking for. It looks like they really thought that would come up more in that spot, Jordan. Despite the best efforts of the sweeper, they just didn't get much movement there.
Yeah, it seemed to run fairly straight in that spot. Didn't get enough action on it. And I did just check, and I can confirm that the MacMillan call was the draw. It just ended up being a hair lighter than they wanted.
Okay, right to center. Yeah, I like it.
See that, folks? You won't miss a moment with Julie and Jordan on the call here. Love that.
Yeah.
And it just shows to how valuable having streaming is at these events. As a spectator as well, you might not see a moment happen when a lot of people start cheering, but you can always go and check, and it's excellent to have.
Agreed. And a huge thank you again to Curl BC and Curling Stadium.
Okay. Line's good. Close. Line's good. All you. Little bit of room.
So Lindsay Dubé, the lone sweeper right now, tasked with escorting this rock in.
Line's good. Get it there for weight. Line's really good. Touch top button. Good there.
That was an excellent shot.
Wow, what a shot.
Pewarchuk is going to have A tricky scoring opportunity here.
My blue's never going anywhere.
Yeah, I feel like it's a tough go when in the second end you're looking at like an angle raise double just to try to score. That's tough. I'll confess, Jordan, I did not know if that draw was there. So just a fabulous outcome for Sarah Daniels and Lindsay doing a great job sweeping it down. Good judgment, and Sarah helping with the call from the house.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a very well managed shot.
Yeah, let's do it.
And while we're waiting for Dailene to hop in the hack here, folks, I did promise you a 50-50 update. So the pot currently is $1,930. That means the winner,
You got it. Let's do it.
hopefully me, will take home $965. The draw is not till 9 o'clock. So if you're looking to get in on the action, you can check out curlbc.ca/5050. We'll do the draw at 9 o'clock tonight. And without further ado, back to Dailene here, who I think is going to try to angle raise this blue one into the rings and make some magic.
Yeah.
Yep. Whoa, whoa. Curl. Go, curl. Hard, 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 hard.
Oh.
Okay.
So a good effort. I'm just going to wait to confirm the score. We know it's at least one. And we may have to go to the break here, folks. But we'll make sure we have a score for you when you come back. And it is 2. We'll see you all after the break.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
All right, folks, welcome back. Julie and Jordan here, welcoming you to the third end of our Thursday evening draw of the BC Men's and Women's Curling Championships. After 2 ends, MacMillan stole in that last end, so MacMillan is leading Pewarchuk 2-0. And Jordan, you may have noticed that, well, I will confess, I missed introducing Nicholas Adine as the coach of the MacMillan team. And y'all may have noticed that, in fact, Kayla is sitting back with Nicholas tonight, and the team is running with 3 this evening. So we will make sure we are modifying our broadcast. It makes things pretty dynamic and busy for a team when you're only playing with 3, Jordan. So tell us what you think, how things will shift for the plan for the MacMillan team based on that tonight.
Yeah, so I'm sure
Do you ever like the hit and
as
roll
a
on
team
that
they've
one?
discussed situations like this
We can go there, even if we
before the
get it.
event,
We can
it's
go
always
big
good
too
to
if we
have
can.
an idea of what we can do in case
Sorry, 11.
we aren't playing with the full team. So I'm sure they've got a bit of a game plan here, and it's going to be a little more taxing on the sweepers. So it's something that they're just going to have to be aware of with the ice reading and just giving themselves a little bit more space for a sweep. And it technically does give each of the sweepers one less rock to sweep, but all of the sweep is on them. So it'll be a long, exhausting game for them, but I'm sure with all of their practicing, they're totally ready for a situation like this.
Yeah, well said. Absolutely. I think the thing when I, have had occasion a long time ago to sweep by myself, I'm one of those sweepers who likes to talk a lot with my buddy about where I think the weight is and whatnot. So, that, as you said, that solo sweeper is going to have a bit of responsibility to call the weight and make a judgment on their own. But without question, this MacMillan team has the experience to cope with something like this. So we've got a couple guards in play, Jordan. What do you think Pewarchuk's got in terms of a plan here for this third end?
So it looked like at the start they were going to go for a double corner situation. The corner seems to be a little higher than they had originally wanted. So it appears that they are doing a little bit of a pivot to try and get a blank in the third and try and get their juice back in 4.
Okay. Some water. I thought I threw it, guy.
Yeah, I agree, and not quite removing that rock. Taking it over that maybe it comes in handy a little later. I'm not sure. It is pretty wide, like the one we saw in the first end, but we'll wait and see how things turn out. And I think I saw that Sarah Daniels called to put the guard back. Is that what it looked like she called, Jordan?
That is, yes.
3.
Yeah. So Sarah really not letting up here.
No, after last end, it's a nice little bit of advantage to be coming off of a steal and having a very strong end to try and push Team Pewarchuk to maybe push a little more than they want to and take a little more risks and give Team MacMillan a little more control.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
9-8.
So Pewarchuk again throwing the hit and roll here, I believe. So Jordan, you and I are new to each other. Tell me a little bit about yourself. I think I hear you hail from the Langley Curling Club. A shout out to Langley Curling Club for hosting this great event. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I've had the honor of curling out of Langley for 12 years, I think it is at this point. I basically grew up here and used to play with some of the curlers at this event throughout my years. And the excellent support system. Like, it's nice to see a lot of the curlers that curl out of Langley supporting this event as well with volunteering and officiating.
Let's think a good one in here.
A little bit of pride for all of our members at the curling club.
Well said, super lovely. Also, I sense you're being modest. I heard you won something one time. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I was fortunate enough to play with the third, or I guess second now, of Kevin Cooey, and as my brother, and he carried me to 2 national titles and a world championship win, and very grateful in that situation to represent Canada and BC, and had a very good time, and I can't be more grateful for what the opportunities curling has provided me.
Amazing. Awesome. Well, congratulations. I'm delighted
you.
we're in the booth together tonight. I'm sure Langley is super proud to have you on the broadcast tonight. We're going to have to draw on your national and international experience here throughout the show tonight. In the meantime, an attempted come around there, not quite buried, but they did get a corner around. So now Sarah is going to ask Lindsay to chase after it.
$11.5. 11.5. A little less.
So as you mentioned, Jordan, really trying to throw that down hit weight so that you have an opportunity to, work with the stone a little bit. We typically hear teams throwing somewhere between like a 9 to 9.5 for like a regular hit weight. So 11.5 might be a bit down from that. For those folks at home who aren't familiar with timing, can you tell us a little bit about what is the deal with timing rocks?
Okay, so there's quite a bit of ways you can time. Some have more value for different shots than others.
Almost 13.
Hog to hog is globally the one that is used the most due to its information that it provides throughout the game. And so that's when we're referring to hits at the 10, 11, or sometimes even a 12 for a really low weight hit. And it's just a really easy way to translate the speed of the rock for all of the players so that there's understanding on what exactly the weight is we're trying to throw here, as well as for draws, just getting that information when the other team is throwing of what speed the ice is currently sitting at, so that you have a more accurate read on when you're throwing your draws. At the start of the game, I took a time, and I haven't taken the time recently on the draws, but typically the start of the game will be a little slower, and throughout the game it'll speed up as the paths get worn down a little. And having the ability to get those hog-to-hog times really tells you where the ice is sitting for that speed. And then there's a lot of curlers that use tee to hog or backline to hog, as well as a reference for their team's throws, just so that they have that little bit of extra information for where the rock we just threw is going to end up.
Awesome explanation. Love it. Rock Timing 101 by Jordan Tardi. So fabulous. In the meantime, looks like Sarah Daniels here trying to come around that corner guard after Pewarchuk didn't quite get the outcome they wanted on their last shot. I think they would have liked to have been second shot there, though. So a little disappointment from Lindsay that she couldn't quite get it there.
Did you like that 11 we were throwing earlier?
Yeah, the line for that shot was very good. Just, it looks like a couple inches from achieving that second shot.
I was going to say, Jordan, I admit that I was curling in a time before stopwatches came along as a reference point, and so we used to have to refer to like different clubs you'd played in. I actually curled juniors at Richmond a lifetime ago, and you play Bonspils around, and you might get to a new club and say, oh, this is like Richmond ice in the third end, or this is like Richmond ice in the first, or now my husband plays in Tunneltown, and if we go anywhere, shout out to Tunneltown, by the way, if we go anywhere, my husband will say, oh, this is like third end Tunneltown. So a great explanation of rock timing, and just the amount of value. I, as a thrower, really valued your hog to hog times, but as a sweeper, I really felt that back line to T line time just helped so much with an additional reference point alongside your eyes of where that rock might end up.
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point of using references for weights, like that is also something that's used quite a bit with just even the feel of the ice. The feel of the slide might be 4 feet faster than this other club that we usually practice in, because using the club you play in the most, like you said, is a good reference point. And just being able to articulate that in a way that everyone understands is a huge advantage to be able to have on your team.
Love that.
Yeah.
So Pewarchuk knows that rock, and now kind of sitting a sneaky 2, I think. Is that what you see too, Jordan?
Yeah, I think Team MacMillan is going to try and roll this underneath. Otherwise, I think they might be able to have a relatively open shot for 2, or at least a chase bump out for 2.
So Sarah Daniels throwing the last rock here for Team MacMillan. Just noses it, and therefore I think leaving Dailene no hesitation to effectively run right down there and try to get this hit for 2 that, again, kind of seemed to sneak up on them a little bit this end.
Yeah, it just was the one rock that didn't quite get there that is giving them this opportunity for their 2 and to be back tied.
So Pewarchuk here looking for the nose hit for 2 in the 3rd end.
10. 10. 10. Girl.
Looking for a little help here. Looking for a little help here. Oh. Just couldn't quite get that rock to come over, Jordan, and so it'll be 1 for Pewarchuk, who is going to probably think about that shot when she gets into bed tonight, with a chance for 2. So we are sitting 2-1 after 3. MacMillan's in the lead. We'll be right back.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You could throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
All right, folks, welcome back. Julie and Jordan escorting you through the Thursday night draw at the BC Men's and Women's 2025 Curling Championships. We're so thrilled to be alongside you. If you're just joining us, MacMillan is leading Pewarchuk 2-1 after 3 ends. And we'll maybe just catch up on the first few shots here, Jordan, and then maybe give an update on the rest of the sheets here in the building.
Yeah, so it looks like Pewarchuk is going for textbook steal/force play with throwing the center guard, and MacMillan going to the corner to try and see if they can get a 2 out of this. With Pewarchuk coming in right now to try and sit top 4, top 8, and be in a nice control position behind the guard.
Yeah, you gotta
Excellent update. So to date, I've been giving updates from A to E, but we are going to go backwards tonight, Jordan, just to change it up and keep it fresh. So on sheet E, we have Haffley off to a commanding start over Steph Jackson Bayer. Haffley took 3 and 2 and then stole 2 and 3 to lead 5-0. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Steph Jackson, Bayer and co. Never one to be ruled out. They mounted a comeback last night, so we'll keep an eye on that. We just have a score going up here on sheet D between Reese Hansen and Wark. Looks like the score is 2-1 for Reese Hansen, leading Wark. Sarah still on the hunt for her first win. Of course, on sheet C is our feature game. Sheet B is Vinance Richard. Richard is currently leading. Oh, they're just putting up a score, folks. Be patient with me here. I'm going to stall for time. It looks like Vinance took 1, so it looks like it is 1-1 after 3 over there. And then on the very other end of the building here on sheet A, we have Brown playing Kristen Ryan. That is a big game. Brown currently sitting at 4-0. Ryan currently sitting at 4-1. And the score there after 3 is 5-1 for Brown. So again, we'll keep an eye on that sheet over there. All right, Jordan, what did I miss while I was trying to see scores? What's happening on our feature sheet?
So we had Pewarchuk tried to draw around their center guard and ended up being hair light. And then MacMillan followed up their corner guard with a draw around and ended up slipping behind the center or the T line. And they're sitting in the back 12 there. And then we just saw here it was a draw attempt around the center guard. It was a little heavy and it just hung out there a little bit and it clipped the corner guard. Now MacMillan's trying to clean up the free guard zone here a little bit.
So Sarah Loken looking to rearrange some rocks here. If you're just joining us, MacMillan is playing with 3 players tonight. So Sarah's throwing the first 3, and then Lindsay's throwing 3, and Sarah Daniels, that is, throwing skip stones. So pretty solid outcome, would you say there, Jordan?
Yeah, I'd say so. You got rid of one of your center guards that you're having to deal with.
That's fine.
It's opened up the side a little bit, which probably wasn't something that they wanted to happen, but it's still opening up the house a little bit and giving them more room here if they have to chase up Pewarchuk.
Yeah, such a great call, and you know, a reminder here that although I would imagine that MacMillan with the hammer, or Sarah Daniels in this case, is looking to score 2, right? Likely their plan is just to make absolutely sure they have a chance to score this end. So as you say, so important making sure that that 4-foot is going to be accessible.
Yeah, exactly. Because even if, based on the center line guard, even if there's a stack of blue behind that, they'll still have a portion of the button here, and they're going to attempt to continue to open it up a little more, and it might allow them an opportunity to split the house depending on how things go.
It's good. It's good.
Oh, no.
It's good.
No, sorry.
So Lindsay just straight peeling that off, and now Pewarchuk looking to place the rock in.
Okay, Kayla, you got it.
In a position where maybe it's doing a bit of double duty, sitting in a scoring position, but also guarding that back
blue. Or just
one.
on top 12? Okay.
Yeah, go with the classic Christmas tree terminology there.
Love the Christmas tree so much. In fact, I've been trying to figure out another tree we could use in curling analysis. So
Oh.
far, I've come up short, Jordan, but maybe
Top
2
off!
grains would be better than 1. So
Top
we'll keep you
off.
posted,
Running.
folks, if we can think of another rock
Top
placement
off!
tree
Keep
analogy
coming
for
off!
curling.
Oh, my
Not
favorite
finished.
tree is a
Puppy!
baobab, so we
Puppy,
can sneak
top
that in there
off!
somewhere.
Solid. I love it so much.
Actually, finish
So
it,
Sweeper's
yep,
working
perfect.
hard to try to get this in the rings.
Yep,
Little more.
Tucker, keep-
Little more.
Go, 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 go.
Oh, that's a
Good.
nice shot.
Yeah, it
Hey,
looks like they
Kayla.
got second shot there as well.
Yeah.
Really?
Careless. Wait, maybe?
I think 11.
Yeah. Yeah, your 11s have been really good.
Yeah. Really good
So
throw.
Sarah Daniels chasing after it, and while she plays third on this team this season, I think Sarah Daniels is not a stranger to having to throw the last rock, if I'm not mistaken, Jordan.
Yeah,
Good. 11.
Sarah has had a lot of experience skipping and had quite a bit of success as well. And she wasn't curling for a little bit, but it's nice to see her come back into the curling world, as she's always been a force to
A little quiet.
the curling world, always been someone to watch.
For sure, for sure. And nice for that team to know that, you know, when she's at the helm tonight, standing in the rings, she's got lots of confidence and experience in the house when called to do so. So that's I'm sure, a reassuring feeling for MacMillan as we see Pewarchuk, pardon me, looking to remove that red rock.
Curl hard, C. Hard, you're doing it. Hard, 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 hard.
Looking to get a bit of a rollover. Oh,
Atta girl.
what a nice shot, and manages
Wow,
to catch the
fantastic.
back. Woo.
Yeah, it's it was definitely the A plan to go for that roll, and it's just nice to get that extra
Do you have a first thought?
benefit out of the shot by clipping that red out,
My
because
first thought.
now
Yeah.
it's putting a little more pressure on MacMillan to do
Yeah.
a little more work to get their deuce.
Don't love that. No. My other thought is to run.
Yeah.
So Sarah just trying to decide what to do now after that great shot.
Just get rid of 2.
Thought she was indicating maybe they think about chasing it or the run, but
Okay.
Okay. Back.
the
Back
front end,
four.
as it were, tonight likes the freeze, Jordan. I like the freeze too, I think.
Yeah, I think it gives them a
Run okay.
decent shot at a 2 here. It's a little behind the tee line, but it wouldn't give Pewarchuk much room to sneak in there if they are
Close.
able
T,
to
back,
freeze on
T.
this.
And we need
Back 4.
Close.
Back 4.
No. No, we're back 8.
Yeah. Even.
It's back 12.
Really needing this to curl.
Oh my god.
Just a little bit of a mistake there. Just a hair too much weight, hey, Jordan.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was just enough weight that they couldn't risk
We're never going
doing
here,
anything with the sweep,
right? What if I go right
and
here?
it ended up just nudging and rolling a little too much.
Makes a bit of a... Do you like moving this or just going right here?
My first thought was like a little hit and roll this way.
Just makes 11 here.
I think we make her look at a few, right? The freeze.
Okay, just 11 in the
So I think if you're
I just think
Dailene, the good news here is
you're
you hit this and
Right?
roll, as we heard the front end say, you're
Yeah.
gonna make Sarah Daniels look at a few
Let's
here.
just get this back.
I'm gonna bet that Dailene wishes these rocks she was hitting it in the front of the rings, so that you're not, building up a bit of granite back there for Sarah to potentially just draw down to.
Yeah, for sure. If that rock was a 1.5 feet higher and being able to roll and staying in front of the tee line, that would have been ideal. But it's still
11?
nice
11
to
and a half.
put
11 and a
Sarah
hit and roll might just also be for a force too. So.
Yeah. So, but this is an offer too.
Sounds like the discussion being whether they hit and roll on top of that blue one, Jordan, or maybe go for the double. Did it sound like they were talking about at one point?
Yeah, it's an interesting position because if you try to roll under, you're going to be pushing yourself to go hard for the 2, but you might be in a position where if you roll too far, you're going to put yourself in a little bit of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't quite see what they ended up deciding on, but I would assume that they would try to hit roll in here.
It's good.
Clean. Clean.
Even just a nose hit here and getting 2 of those out is pretty good.
Double.
I agree.
Close. Roll.
Good.
Quite a lovely shot, if you ask me.
Absolutely.
Not really though. Frozen's perfect.
Yeah, it ended up being in a really nice position because it's hard for the chase because you'd end up having
be
to
patient
hit it
with this
really
one.
thin to remove
Not
it,
kill the line
or
on it.
play a little too cute to a blue guard. So it ended up in an excellent
What do you think, like
position,
14 and a
forcing
half?
the freeze here.
Okay. Yep.
So a pretty critical, pretty important draw here
Okay,
for Dailene. You hear the front end confirming the time. Dailene checking in with them, what she has in her mind for a draw. And then everybody settles in, prepares. You have that tolerance in your mind and making sure you're looking to make a really precise shot here.
We're just top 4 right now. Just top 4, top 8.
Per our discussion earlier, you saw them timing the rock, right? And then they check the time. You got to compare that against what you saw with your eyes and then to make a call.
Hard line, green.
For sure. It's a big sweep here.
Go, Sash. Go, Sash. Go, Sash. Fast, Sash.
So just coming up a bit short with that, but I have to say I love when you hear the sweepers not only sweeping their faces off, but also encouraging each other. Go, Sash. Go, Sash. So good. I love it so much.
Yeah, it's always nice when you're, especially if front end players, you have each other's back and you're trying to push through a really long sweep together.
I think they got out wide in their lines. Yeah.
So Sarah Daniels getting into the hack and locking in that draw weight in her mind. Looking for a draw to, would we say, pretty much the side of the button here for 2, Jordan?
Yeah, I think she might have a little bit more room, but for the most part, I think they're trying to hit the edge of the button here.
We'll be right back after this break.
15-4.
Throws.
This is it. It all comes down to this rock. hours in the gym, the weeks away from my family. This is what I've been training for. And all those voices trying to tear me down, I'm here to silence them. We've given everything we have for a chance to get everything we want.
Well, welcome back, folks. We are so glad you're here with us alongside Julie and Jordan on a Thursday night in beautiful Langley, British Columbia. We're coming to you from the George Pearson Rec Center. Our feature game has been a terrific game, and we just saw a beautiful draw by Sarah Daniels, currently skipping for Team MacMillan this evening. She got her deuce, and now we are at 4-1 after 4. I think we are seeing a little bit of a change in the plan here now based on that that 2 from Sarah Daniels. She called the first rock into the ring, so maybe a little bit of change in the plan now based on the scoreboard. Would you say, Jordan?
Yeah, absolutely. It's likely that Team MacMillan is going to try and keep it a little more simple now that they've got a 3-point lead, and just put enough pressure on to force here, but an easy force, a safe force. They don't want to do anything too risky and just try and keep the rocks in the center to prevent the splitting the house for an easy 2.
Yeah, great call. A safe force. I love that. I'm stealing it. I'm using it all week. And I want to just point out that was a lovely corner guard by Sierra Fisher there. So I think Dailene is looking to make use of that hopefully at some point here.
Yeah, and it looks like that's the depth that is ideal on this ice. It's curling nice, and you don't want to leave the guards too high, otherwise Team MacMillan would be able to chase it. So it's in a nice position to keep your rocks safe.
So double corner guards now. Pewarchuk hoping that maybe in this instance 2 is better than 1, although I think they're a little grouped together. But nonetheless, Sarah Daniel is going to protect those 2 well-placed rocks by Sarah Loken. And if you're just joining us, Team MacMillan tonight is playing with 3 players. So Sarah is throwing 3 rocks, Lindsay, and then Sarah Daniels is throwing skip stones and calling the game tonight.
I thought on the high side. Running fine. 3. Okay, to your broom.
We're having a bit of a mixed doubles flair here tonight. Some players are on the team here having to jump up and sweep their own rocks. Jordan, have you played much mixed doubles yet in your career? Tell me about this.
I have. I actually have played with 2 members of this sheet.
Come on.
Yeah, so 2 years ago I had the pleasure of playing with Kayla. Kayla Wilson. There's 2 Kaylas technically.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Solid. Yep.
And years ago, I played with Sarah Daniels.
Super fun. Folks, we didn't see how this is tying together nicely tonight. We didn't even know this, and here we go. And what do you think of the mixed doubles format?
I really enjoy it. It's a lot more energy, I feel, with just the amount of things that can happen. You're always in the game. There's always a potential for 5. Lots of rocks in play. I think it's a really fun format to watch as well as play. And it was exciting to watch the Olympic trials this past couple months and the lead up to it.
Yes. One thing Penny and I were chatting about last night is just all the different opportunities, where the game of curling is growing now, right? All the different styles of curling. There's stick curling, there's mixed doubles, the traditional 4-man or 4-woman curling. It's just so exciting, so great for the game. I'm going to interrupt myself here just to highlight that great double peel by Lindsay. Lovely shot there. So now Pewarchuk having to really rethink these, but I was going to share a hilarious story about mixed doubles. Jordan and I have 2 teenage girls who are heavily entrenched in softball, so I myself have had to set down my curling broom for a little while, but my husband and I were chatting the other night about maybe we could come back to curling at some point when we have more time. And he said, I think I'd like to try mixed doubles with you, honey. And I said, well, I'd like to stay married, so we're not going to curl together. I think the choices are mutually exclusive. We're going to curl together or stay married. So no mixed doubles on the horizon here for the Herndiers, but I really enjoy the game. As you said, it's so fast-paced and awesome addition to the Olympics. Ooh, and a little bit of tough luck on that one there. Too much curl and too much weight. Hey, Jordan?
Yeah, it's unfortunate that it wasn't able to move those reds around. It just seemed to curl more than they could have held there.
So now MacMillan, aka Sarah Daniels, peeling away here. And we have to imagine that at this point, I'm wondering if Dailene is maybe thinking about changing the plan for this end.
Yeah, it's
Are you just locking it
based on the layout currently. It's a little tougher to get your deuce than they had planned for here. So it looks like they're calling the freeze on top of the red, which you might be able to generate a 2 out of this with a potential miss from MacMillan, but it's looking more towards a blank if they're not feeling the likelihood of a 2, which is nice that they have that option if things don't work out the way they want it to.
Yeah, I totally agree. Rock is curling up fairly nicely, just rearranging things, but a bit of tough luck there to have that rock roll off the reds versus sitting in front of it, as you said, Jordan.
Easy, 10. Easy.
So Lindsay looking for the hit here. I think they want to be a little bit thoughtful about where they leave their shooter.
Good.
That's a pretty good spot to leave it.
You just gotta
Yep.
move them now, Kayla. Yeah. 9. Okay.
Yeah, you definitely want to try and remove a couple here just with those rocks being so tight together. It's hard
Yes,
to get
and
rid of.
above the tee line. Like we're now, now I'm gotta make sure you have a chance to score here if you're Dailene.
Yeah, absolutely.
So a nice little spin back there that leaves it enough in play that Sarah's decided she's going to deal with it.
Yeah, I didn't do anything crazy out here, I don't think. Okay, yeah. Lynn's through here.
Based on how those other 2 red rocks are sitting, Jordan, do you think she ever just
Like, I don't know.
disregards this, or what do you think about this call?
Yeah, I think that nosing this and having this on the edge, they're probably still, Pewarchuk's probably still going to go for the double here and try and just maybe leave yourself a double in your second one.
Yep.
It's tricky because you make your double and then MacMillan hits and rolls to the other wing and now you're forced. It's an interesting thing for them to consider, so we'll see what they decide to do here.
9-1.
Looks like they might be drawing to the top button.
I think so, but hey, pro tip from your commentators for those of you at home, when you make it to a BC championship, help us out up here by signaling what the call is so that we know for sure.
Yeah.
I feel good about it, though. I think you're right. We're looking at the draw here. And just as Dailene is preparing to throw her first of 2 I thought we'd remind the folks out there that for the BC Championships for the women's side, this is an 8-team round robin. The round robin will wrap up tomorrow night at 7, and then we'll go into the championship weekend. And for the men's side, it is a 12-team triple knockout.
T-line! Top floor! Top line! T, back floor! Back floor! Back floor, bumping! Room! Back floor, back
So if Waite's up on this shot, they want to really make sure they've got good line here. Hey, Tyler, Jordan, to make sure they've got something out of this shot.
Yeah, and I think they got a good result there. It's gonna leave them a shot at the button now because MacMillan's gonna have to make sure they remove it.
Yeah, ooh, I was getting worried there about the line. I was all tongue-tied thinking, we got to make sure we hold the line here.
30% clean.
So Sarah with her last throwing lots of weight, looking to remove the Pewarchuk rock. And gets the job done now, leaving Dailene for a draw for 1.
Same Steve, great.
So Dailene Pewarchuk delivering her last in the 5th, needing effectively a draw to full 8 for her 1.
A little more. Back 8! T. Back 8!
Running a bit.
Mine's good, just for T. Running a little.
Sweepers cleaning, always a good signal, although now talking about it running a bit, so just backing right off and hoping that rock stops. A sigh of relief. That's 1 for Pewarchuk. We're going to go into the break here. The score is 4-2 after 5. We'll be right back.
their necks if they make this, because it looks like there might be an opportunity to use the rock just off to the side on the 8-foot to maybe jostle things around, especially if it's close to seeing who shot.
Oh yeah, I like it.
Okay.
That's where I wanted Kayla.
Yeah.
Actually, from that other angle that they just showed, it might be too thin. So,
Yeah.
So Lindsay coming down to confer a little
You always
bit.
have the open draw.
We were chatting on a previous episode about how as a front end, you know, if you have some input for the back end when there's a complex shot being called, it's really important that you come down and chat with the skip and the third during the discussion versus waiting for your skip to slide down to the hack end. Is that what your teams have historically done also, Jordan?
yeah, absolutely. It's really good to also know when is the right time to do things, like when the skip is discussing with the third. It's a good time usually to maybe come down and take a look. You don't always even need to make a discussion, but just to see the angle, just so you understand, is also helpful. And one of the rules we had is if the skip passed the close hog line to the throwing hack, you're committed.
Yep.
So if you're gonna make any suggestions, it has to be before that point, just so that everyone has a dead, this is when we're committing to the shot, because you don't want anybody to be trying to change anything when you're in the hack.
Absolutely. Love that. Yeah. Good to have, you know, your checks and balances like that. Like, okay, after the hog line, no more discussion, no more feedback. You know, Skip's got the wrong color socks on. That's not the time to tell them.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait until later.
Yeah, after the hog line, discussion should usually just be about how do we make the shot that
For
we
sure.
call.
Yeah, weight, tolerance, line. Love that.
15-5. Good though.
So a nice shot by Sarah.
Which is okay.
I'm very interested to know who shot. No one's actually said. I think we just heard Sierra ask who is shot.
I don't see me getting shot ever. I don't see me getting shot ever after this shot. So how's she getting 2 or more? Yeah. Yes, that's what I mean. Do I block it? So then I block the tap and the... Yeah, like you gotta block the tap and this. Yeah, I think so too. Gotta be pretty tight.
Yeah.
To make her draw hard. Yeah.
It's a tricky business here, speculating about what the
gonna
right
have
call
this
might be
side.
when we're just not sure who
Can't guard
is
them
shot,
both, I guess.
although, because even by way of her, what it sounds like she's trying to do is block the path or block the tap. It's unclear if she's blocking the tap for them to tap in and be shot, or for,
She's
to
got
get
some on
2.
this side
So
though, hey? Or not really?
I don't see our blue going anywhere.
Yeah, because with this guard, you're
Like a 2 here? Is
preventing
what you're
any
looking for?
promotion of the rock that might be shot, or the potential
go,
being
Tara,
able
you
to
got
be
it.
shot 2 after this with a little bit of a nudge. But like you said, it's kind of hard to speculate when we're not quite sure who shot.
We're just a 2.
Okay, go a little bit then.
3!
Okay, needs
So
to
Dailene
work.
with her last
Hold
one
it.
in 6.
Line's
Gotta be
good.
3 on this line.
Line's good. Keep it straight. Turn. Okay. Over and off then.
Yep.
Yep, keep
you
it
gotta
going.
go,
Hard.
Kayla. Yes, you have to cover it. Yep. Hard.
Looking to get that over to block that red rock for the tap.
Sorry.
Rock more.
She's saying over and off, so I thought maybe we were over curling.
Yeah, I think she's trying to leave it wide to block the draw more. So like maybe back 4.
Yeah, I was thinking middle. I like that. Okay. Yeah.
So it looks like Pewarchuk's rock is doing the job there because they've gone to the other side of the sheet. And again, just not sure exactly what the call is here without an indication, but certainly Sarah will be looking for a way to make sure she's scoring at least her 1 here.
I believe they're trying to do the tap across the face and sneak under the guard that was just thrown.
Okay.
Back 4.
Okay.
T.
Close. Whoa. Whoa. Close. Room. Curl.
Just trying to stand up to get around the spectators here to see the shot.
Good sweep. Okay. 1.
Okay.
So a worthy attempt here. And they're confirming 1, but for who is the question of the day? Oh, we're going to hang in here for a second just to see if we can get an indication. Oh, we're going to go to break, and I promise to catch you up. We're saying it's 1 MacMillan, so the score is 5-2 after 6. We will be right back.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
Hello, folks. Welcome back. We're so glad you're here. Jordan and I coming to you from the George Preston Recreation Center in beautiful Langley. This is a great shot of the, I guess, bar restaurant area, you'd say, our VIP area, the viewing. You can get snacks, appetizers. There's French fries that have gone by that have absolutely distracted me repeatedly from making the call here, Jordan, but just a fabulous, fabulous venue. We're so thankful to our supporters, the organizing committee, the volunteers, Langley Curling Club, the Township of Langley, of course, George Preston Recreation Center, Check TV, CBC.ca. And again, just so thrilled to bring all of this to you alongside our partners, Curling Stadium. And thank you to Curl BC for making this investment so that all of you, the curling fans, can capture every minute on every sheet of every game here at the BC Men's and Women's Curling Provincials. We're featuring MacMillan versus Pewarchuk this evening on Sheet C. MacMillan just scored 1 to go up 5-2 You'll notice if you're just tuning in that Team MacMillan this evening is playing with 3. So in fact, Sarah Daniels has been tasked with calling the game. And Pewarchuk really getting to the point where I really think we've got to see them get something going here, Jordan, and get going on the board. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. Last end, the result was probably what they were hoping for going into that end, just forcing them here. So they're probably going to go pretty hard for a deuce here to tighten the game up a little bit here. And it looks like they're off to a good start with that corner guard and draw around. But yeah, they're going to probably push a little harder now for a deuce here.
I agree. Two lovely shots by their lead, Sierra. Got to make sure we give those leads the shout out.
Absolutely.
Sometimes they're missed a little bit in the commercial break there, but fabulous first 2 shots. And I think it's worth mentioning what we're playing for here this week. I don't think we've chatted about it yet, but for the women's side, of course, they're competing to win the opportunity to represent British Columbia at the Scotties Tournament of Hearts in February back in Thunder Bay, Ontario. I'm sure they're looking so forward to hosting that event. And then they're I would suggest maybe even a little more on the line for the men's teams, given where the Briar is this year. What do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's always an honor to represent BC, but to represent BC at home, it's a little more special for the teams there to represent the province that you're competing in, and just having that fan interaction and the support from the crowd. It's just more of an experience for these teams to be competing for.
Absolutely, for sure. I mean, of course, as you said, we know every team would be so thrilled to represent British Columbia at a Briar in any province, but just something extra super special about the accessibility maybe for your super fans if it's close to home. And the Briar, I think, taking place just through the last part of February and into March. Is that what you know as well?
Yeah, early March.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so we'll be excited, as we come into championship weekend. The playoff picture is starting to take shape. That'll be so exciting. We will make sure you don't miss a moment of curling. Again, thank you to our partners and sponsors who ensure that we can stream these games. Better yet, if you have an opportunity and you're close by, I hope you're planning on coming down here, as we showed you coming back in from this break. The fabulous facility. The organizing committee is ready for you, the volunteers. We had a great turnout the last few nights. The crowd is building every single night, and there's just something about the vibe in the building, Jordan, that we hope people will consider taking part in. And you have about 15 minutes left to get into the 50-50 tonight. The draw will take place at 9 o'clock. The current jackpot is a total of just over $2,700. Half of that will go to the winner, which could buy you, I think, a few rounds of French fries up here in the VIP area. What do you say?
Yeah, absolutely. At least 2.
At least 2. You heard it here first.
Yeah, I think so. It's good.
So coming back to the featured game, it looks like Lindsay's being called on here for a bit of a hit and stick, I think, on this Pewarchuk rock. Sarah working hard.
Right out, Sarah. Go. Right out. Okay, good.
Sorry, good sweep.
Good sweep, pardon me, by tonight's skipper. Despite catching the back one there, they managed to get it out.
At similar weight, you're coming around the
corner. It's a nice result because they also push some of the rocks to the wings to make these doubles a little more difficult to get that outer blue rock to count. Something that Pewarchuk is probably going to try and incorporate into the scoring zone.
Line's great. Yep, line.
Top 8. Yeah, top 8. Top 12. Yep. Really coming down.
Sweepers working hard. You heard them say it's really coming down here.
Preston 3.
Whoa, if you're not here. Whoa, I want to use it.
So a bit of a mistake there. If I'm not mistaken, they were trying to get down to those red ones. And, you know, if you're imagining maybe the tolerance was to be a bit heavy and snuggle up to those. So we'll have to keep an eye on whether maybe that came up a little bit short because, you know, possibly the ice is changing a little bit given that we thought the tolerance might be to be a bit heavy. So we'll keep an eye on that.
Yep. Yes. Hard. Hard.
So at first glance, you might feel like, oh, that roll wasn't bad. We rolled in front of the rock, but now Dailene showing us why maybe that wasn't the ideal roll, even though, again, on its own, you might feel like it's a pretty good shot. But Dailene quickly going to try to take advantage of that rock behind the tee line and that top red rock to get something going here.
Top 4.
Okay, go then. Line's good.
T.
In a room, just all you, just top button. Needs to curl it here. No bounce on this line.
Whoa.
Can't bounce. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Okay.
Oh, nice shot.
Yeah, and that's it. Just shows how that just even though that last shot from MacMillan was still a good result, just that little bit of a mistake gave Pewarchuk just a little bit of something to work with, and they definitely took advantage of it.
So Sarah Daniels with her first. Looking to run this rock back.
Just strolling out. Okay.
Pardon me, maybe it was just the peel she was calling. I thought I saw the call, but nonetheless, she's gotten it out of the way.
I believe it was the run back. It just seemed to have tracked and maybe fell a little based on watching the line from behind the sheet.
Yeah. I like
12 guard.
Alright.
Like just here?
We have hammer, right? If you go there.
She's gonna blast everything.
Well, I was wondering if you ever played this.
Oh.
And try to sit 2 at the end of it. Like, you have to get pretty flat.
So some discussion here, and as mentioned, this team clearly has a plan for if there's going to be input from the front end to come on down and have a chat. And the discussion or highlight being that, you know, hey gals, we've got the hammer. Let's make sure we're sitting 2 after this.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
If you look here, she's ripping it over the top.
a situation where they know they really need their 2 here, and it's just a matter of
Then it's only for...
coming to an agreement on how they want to achieve that.
I don't like this. I think this gives her too easy of a double right back. I don't like that.
So there was some discussion about whether to call a timeout.
Same thing that she just played.
You know, when you were competing, you know, when did you know
And
whether it
never
was worth it to
freezing
use a
that
timeout
side,
up or not?
those
Use up a
corners?
timeout, I should say.
Typically for us, it was a matter of how much time do we feel is reasonable to call a shot, and if we believed it
Yeah,
would
I
take
agree.
longer of a discussion than that
So we're
time,
looking for just top
it's
12?
worth having that timeout just to get that input to just try and
Okay, you got it.
keep us on the same page and not lag behind by trying to get stuck on a decision. But it looks like they were able to come to a concise decision without needing to do that, which is good.
We're should be all there.
A little bit early, Steve.
Top 12. Top 8.
So it looked like in the end they settled on the call that Dailene originally wanted to make there. I think they're trying to come in here sort of top 12, top 8. Bit of a guard for their blue rock sitting in the rings. This is over curling and running a little bit deep.
They might be third here. It's hard to say. It looks like they just tapped to be third.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that Sarah was indicating there that that rock is third shot.
Yeah.
Kind of a sneaky spot, honestly, Jordan. Kind of get us scratching our head a little bit here.
Yeah, I was just thinking that because it's showing enough that they could just hit it. But I feel like they're in a position where they're not wanting to risk maybe giving them an easy shot here. It looks like they're just going to play the hit here. They initially called what looked like the freeze, so I was thinking that they might not have been comfortable with the hit, but it looks like they're comfortable playing this.
I like this. Do you?
I do too. Yeah, if they can, it's tricky. It's again, it comes down to whether or not that blue is third, because you know that you're potentially giving a shot for 2 here, but it's also, I think, a call that's safest. Or are they playing the run back?
Oh,
they were.
They were. Surprise. So well executed shot.
I thought they were going to be playing a softer weight hit on the nose. Should have clued in with the ice there. I thought it might have just been a preference on turn.
9, you just have to move this a foot.
I did too. So a nice shot, and now
Does go.
Dailene taking a minute to see if she can figure out whether there's an opportunity for
3/4 on this side.
for 2, right?
9.
Yeah, I
You
believe
got it.
so.
Let's make it.
Just hit a little bit on the inside. Just kick that right out a little bit, and I think you're having a good chance at the 2.
Yep. Yep, nice 9.
So last rock in the 7th, Dailene Pewarchuk with a shot for 2 here. Bit of a delicate hit and flop in just to be sure she's absolutely sitting 2.
Big 9. 8, 7. 8.
Oh, shoot. So it looked like they were fooled a little bit by the fact that she threw quite big weight. It seemed like the sweepers were a bit reluctant to jump on it, but that rock curled a little bit. So it'll be just 1 for Pewarchuk. That'll take us to 5-3 after 7 going into the break. Be sure to come right back after you get your popcorn. We're going to be here.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You could throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back. We're so glad you're joining us for the 2025 BC Men's and Women's Curling Championships presented by Best Western.
Make sure I get right out to her.
We're here at the George Preston Recreation Center in beautiful Langley. Jordan and Julie along with you. Score is 5-3. Our feature game this evening is Team MacMillan versus Team Pewarchuk. And while I think they'll be glad to have scored, a bit of a missed opportunity there last end, would you say, Jordan?
Yeah, they just got a little unlucky there with the rollout. It was a good second half of the end there to generate that opportunity for two. Just unfortunate that they weren't able to walk away with the two there.
Yeah, so depending on how this game shapes up, I think my notes here say that that's 2 times that Pewarchuk hasn't quite been able to close the door on a deuce with the hammer, and so might be something that sneaks up on them over the course of the night here that they'll be thinking about as they lay their heads down on their pillow tonight. But still a fair bit of game left. MacMillan now an 8 with hammer with a relatively comfortable 2-point lead with hammer. What do you think their plan is for this end?
It's probably going to be, again, where similar to the last time they had hammer, where they'll throw a couple in and then try and open it up. There's 3 center guards, however, so it's going to make it a little trickier. So they might end up having to commit to playing a little more aggressive.
Yeah, for an added layer of trickiness, that rock just slid just behind the tee line. So
yeah, in the last end they had hammer. They were pursuing the hit to clear the front of the field of play, but it ended up resulting in the Pewarchuk frozen rock, so they had to end up changing gears. So we'll see what they decide to do here, just with all these guards here.
Okay.
A little bit of a mistake there. Sweeper's trying to coax that rock over to that backing, but it's so easy from up here. But at this stage in the game, when you're kind of trying to get something going, you really have to be, if anything, a little shy on those draws, I think.
Yeah, just give it to the sweepers if you can. It's also tough because the ice might be changing and you're just trying to stay on top of it. But giving the sweepers something to at least clean and work with, as well as stay in front of the tee line, just to give yourself some rocks to work with.
And a little bit of shenanigans in the background here, folks. You can hear, I think we had a score on one of our other sheets, so we'll do a little bit of around the house update here in just a moment once they get all the scores up. But in the meantime, just want to give a shout out again to all our amazing sponsors and supporters. Our platinum sponsors for this event, of course, Best Western, Original 16, Bel Air Direct, Local 258 of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Airvac Services, and many, many other local sponsors and supporters. We also want to thank all the volunteers, the host committee. One thing to mention is our officials. Of course, we hope not to see them very often, Jordan, but it's always a relief when we're there if we do happen to need them. And they are out there tirelessly making sure they're supporting the curlers, led by head official Patty Caldwell. And I have a note here that she was invited to officiate at the Olympics. So such an exciting and awesome opportunity. We're so thrilled for her. And just again, we're so delighted and thankful to be here alongside you. Lots of curling left. If you're thinking about coming on down, bring a jacket, bring your cowbell, and get on in here to enjoy some great curling.
Absolutely. I didn't know about Patty getting that offer. I'll have to go congratulate her.
Yeah, so exciting. A little data point from the history of Julie Herndier is that Patty was actually my first junior coach.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yes. And a cute story is that we were down quite a few points in a game in the BC Winter Games, and she came out at the break and said, girls, come on, you got to put rocks in play. Let's go, rocks in play. So we went out on the ice and we threw a rock in the rings, and the opponent hit ours, and then we hit theirs. So we had a rock in the rings. And we kept hitting, and sure enough, she called a timeout. She said, girls, I told you to put rocks in play. We were like, we are. And she's like, no hitting, all the drawing. So there you go. Life lesson by Patty Caldwell. Just such a great supporter of the game. And so thrilled for her on the opportunity ahead. She's so tireless in making sure that everybody has the opportunity to play the game out there, being well supported. Double thrilled for her. So back to our feature, Lindsay peeling off her own center guard there.
Okay, nice 3. It's running really nice.
Pewarchuk trying to get a steal going with that very well placed rock.
You got her.
Yeah.
Right on the pin.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with where that center guard was. It's in a very good position. So now they're just trying to replace the guard that was just removed.
3's great on this line. Yep, okay, wall line, easy line. Whoa, easy line. Maybe a little bit, yep. Whoa, sorry. We're there.
Nice guard by Kayla Wilson.
Run okay in here.
Yeah, I think so.
Looks like Sarah's going to chase it.
Yeah, I think with the amount of curl they're getting on this ice, that rock has just enough poking out that they could attempt to pursue this rock on the button. And it's okay to tick the guard and open up the center anyway, so they can probably play this pretty tight to the guard. Looks like it's running though.
Ooh, a little bit unlucky there with how that ran. Not sure if it ran out there because of the weight, Jordan, or?
Yeah, it looked like the weight was okay. It might have just been a straighter path for them here.
I got a 19 on Kayla's.
It didn't seem to have much movement halfway down the street.
I think slowing ever so slightly, like a 14. 14 and a half's okay.
As long as we're very
So
not the worst.
Dailene Pewarchuk now looking to take advantage of that center guard and well-placed rock, and I'm imagining she's just going to suck another one right around there. What do you think?
14 and a half.
Yeah, absolutely. If they can get second shot, that's a bonus, but I think they're more concerned about just making sure that their top 4, top 8 area in front of their shot rock.
We're all there.
Try and protect it while also giving it a little bit of an extra pressure for
You want to go to that one?
MacMillan.
So a worrisome weight call almost right from her hand, Jordan. They were calling back 8 pretty much right away, so a bit of an audible here now coming down to that red one.
Okay.
Result ended up being okay with getting that little sneaky roll underneath.
Yeah.
But it might end up creating a bit of a wall for MacMillan if they can get this little bump.
Okay. So you like same lane? A little
Yeah. I think she can hold it.
So this is Sarah Daniels' first of 2 skip rocks. Trying to figure out a way here to maybe generate a bit of a skips deuce with a little bit of a tappy freezy thing. That's an official curling term, folks.
It is now. Yeah, I think if they can get that tap, move that rock just back button and get shot here, they have a good chance here of being able to maybe sneak out a, yeah, like I said, a skips deuce here.
Close.
D-line, top four.
Yep.
Of pressure on Pewarchuk, making something a little more cute here to prevent them from being able to just hit for shot off of that red one.
So do we think she's just trying to straight freeze to her own here, or you think she's trying to touch that red one over a bit, or what? This is, as you said, very cute. Oh, so a little bit higher. Okay.
Yeah, I'm surprised they're not trying to just nudge that red a hair just
So thinking
to
14.5?
remove the opportunity for MacMillan's team
Yeah, I really like your
play
kick.
play off of that rock, unless the angles on the sheet look less likely for that to work than it does up here. Just from our vantage point, it seems like that might be just a hit that MacMillan might pursue.
Line only! D-line! Top four!
Line's looking promising here.
I think that ended up being a very, I think that ended up being pretty good. It might have over curled a little, just giving them a piece of that blue to chase.
Yeah, that really curled.
Yeah, you like same line?
And it went a little farther, I think, than the sweepers were calling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good shot. Thank you, team.
Yeah, I think just like 2 feet. We just have 2 full sweeps down here. Alright. Okay. Okay, yeah. Just 2 feet.
So do we think this is like a sneaky tap for 1, or do we think there's enough room there for her to get in for 2 if she can move that rock?
I think it might be an attempt at 2 here. If they can get this close to the top blue one in the top 4, they might be able to stay on the button and still get their 2 here.
Whoa!
Sorry.
So I think in the end it doesn't come up enough for them, and I think it's 1 for Pewarchuk.
Yes.
Yes. So we are with that sneaky steal. It's a little bit snuck up on us. I think we're at 5-4. MacMillan still leading, is going to go into the 9th end with hammer. We'll be right back.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
Oh, well, welcome back, folks. We're so glad you're with us. Jordan and I are here alongside you at the 2025 BC Men's and Women's Curling Provincials in beautiful Langley at the George Patterson Recreation Center. We're so lucky to be here in a gorgeous facility, tremendous ice, fantastic efficiency, great curling, maybe the odd cold pop, if you will, in the restaurant section. And we are featuring this evening Team MacMillan playing Team Pewarchuk after 8 ends of play.
A little wider, I don't think it'll be too different.
The score is 5-4 for MacMillan. We will highlight for those of you just joining us that MacMillan is playing with 3 tonight. Sarah's throwing the first couple rocks, and Sarah Daniels is calling the game and throwing skips rocks this evening. So with that steal, things are really heating up here, Jordan. I imagine that both teams are being pretty thoughtful here about how they want to wind up for the 10th end.
Yeah, absolutely. The last 3 ends here and being a fairly tight race now. They're definitely looking a couple ends ahead to see where they're wanting to be sitting score-wise for the remaining 2 ends here. And having the discussion before the event on what their ideal position is in a tight game of having hammer or not having hammer up is going to come into play here. Just while they pursue the last 2 ends.
We're gonna
after
trip
this one.
off. Straight?
Absolutely. So Pewarchuk showing their hand a little bit by playing the guards here. I'm imagining looking for a force, and a force that wound up yielding a steal last end. So I imagine a little bit the same strategy. Would you say? Yeah,
for sure. If they can just get the force here and down to with 2 ends left, it gives you an opportunity for your 2 in one of the 2 ends, and then try to steal in the last or the extra, depending on how things play out. And they're gonna. It looks like they're playing pretty hard here for the force or the steal.
I agree. And while Jordan keeps an eye on things, I promised you all an update from around the sheets, and I haven't done it yet. So here we go. I'm gonna get my binoculars out to see the board way over on sheet A. It looks like Team Brown is leading Team Ryan 6-4 after 8. On sheet B, Vanance is leading Richard 4-3. In the on sheet D, Wark is leading 8-7 over Reese Hansen after taking 2 and 7 and stealing 3 and 8. And folks, you'll have to forgive me. I'm just doing a big lean here to see the score on our final sheet. Looks like the score is 9-4 for Halfley over Jackson Fair.
Yeah.
Getting the nod from Jordan, who's much taller than I am, for those of you who, well, given this is no television, that's what I'm trying to say.
There you go. Yeah.
You have to take my word from my voice that Jordan's much taller than me.
Barely. So MacMillan almost got quite fortunate there with the peel there. It was very close to clipping that back blue one out, but instead it ended up just stuffing on that, leaving Pewarchuk maybe shot. It's tough to say for sure, but it's giving them an opportunity to draw in there or in.
We're running hot. We're running hot right now. 3. It's coming off. It's coming off. No, we're not there.
Okay, well, even
3.
it's okay.
Coming off.
Line's good.
Yep, a little bit.
Yep, right. Yep, even with this. Yep. Good, good. Good.
So that's a solid guard, I think.
Yeah, it's a nice spot because I'm not sure if they're going to be able to squeeze through the double peel. It might end up leaving the shooter there, which gives Pewarchuk still a guard to work with, depending on how thin they can make this peel. They might be able to clear the front of the house out with this, though.
And just before Lindsay threw, you had a pretty good view of the clocks there, Jordan. Oh, that's a nice double peel. Tell us a little bit about the clocks. How does this all work for folks out at home who have never had a clock on the game?
Yeah, so each team is, I believe it's allotted 32 minutes. I can't remember, actually. But it's based on your thinking time, which is basically once the other team has relinquished the sheet and you are now in control, to when you cross the tee line on your throw. That is your allotted time. So throughout the game, you can take more time on certain shots, but you have to finish throwing your rocks within your starting time that you're given. So as you can see, the games played, the times will tick down. Each team has timeouts, which will pause their time while the timeout is in progress, and it just keeps the games at a good pace and making sure that there's no super long games, and some teams take a lot more of the time than others, but it's in that.
Yeah, for sure. Great explanation. It's so important to keep things moving. You know, this event features 3 draws a day, and there's a fair amount of work that goes in between each draw. So it's a way for, the event to manage the game times as well as a way to ensure that the game keeps moving at a pace that's engaging for spectators. So great explanation of the clocks. Typically, there's one player on the team who's responsible for watching the time and managing the time. And if you're starting to run low, you want to make sure that you've established ahead of time, how you communicate that and how you manage it. So great explanation, Jordan, and back in action here.
You can try to open it up, right? She'll try and open then the front then, yeah. Okay.
It looks to me like
You got it.
Dailene is throwing another guard. Is that what with this ice we think's happening, or is she trying to come around the whole kit and caboodle?
Believe it's another guard, or no, sorry, it's a draw. Sorry, I was looking at the clocks while I was explaining it.
Stop it!
No, this needs to curl.
Hey, no worries. You're doing an excellent job.
For top four! Top four!
And we're gonna know what the call was that he said. Here we go. Yep, they're trying to come around here. Sweeper's working hard to get it by.
Oh, nice shot.
What a nice shot.
So now Sarah is gonna have to take a look and decide whether or not she wants to go for the defensive route and try and hit to maybe have an easier opportunity for two, or just draw like they're discussing right now and maybe risk getting forced here.
Probably just top button. I don't even think we need to be right to it. I mean, right to is fine. We're getting one.
Yeah.
And a little bit of excitement, folks, you maybe heard in the background. I think it's in response to whatever went down on sheet A. So we'll try to get a bit of an update for you there in just a moment. In the meantime, I think it looks like I was looking around here. Do we have a timeout on our sheet?
We do, yes. So Team
Nice.
MacMillan is calling their timeout. I'm not sure where he is, but I'm sure Nicodine is making his way down to have a chat with the team. Another thing that goes along with the timeout is travel time for the coaches, which they get in addition to the timeout time. So the coach has a certain amount of time to get to the players, and if they get there earlier, their official timeout time starts. But so as we can see now, Nick hasn't quite made it, but their timeout time has begun. So it gives them a little extra time just for coaches to get down to the other sheet, especially when there's nowhere to walk around the whole arena.
If we're right to it, we're shot. They can't really get shot after that.
Of course, Nicholas Dean, a club curler here at Langley Curling. Just kidding. Come on now. We all know Nicholas Dean. Championship curler.
He's won a couple
winner of,
things.
yeah, multiple winner of most of all the things that there are to be won in curling. So it looks like they're having a good, rich discussion. And I want to highlight that I really admire that Nicholas actually stopped, even though their clock had started. He stopped making his way to their sheet because another sheet, sheet D, I believe, that the thrower was about to throw. And, as you see time and time again in curling, which is part of the reason I think we love the game, just the absolute sportsmanship and consideration. He at the cost of seconds of their own precious timeout time, he stopped to wait and give that thrower an opportunity to throw the rock without distraction. So just a total class act.
Absolutely, yeah. It's nice to see when at every level there's just the honor and sportsmanship in curling, and that's one of the reasons that curling is such a great sport.
So in the end, I couldn't hear what the verdict was, but it seems like they opted to come down to it here.
Yeah, and the discussion with Nicholas was the concern of when they get shot with the freeze, they can't get shot again after that. So I believe they decided that it was worth
Pardon? I don't think so. No.
pursuing it and potentially. It looks like there's room for another rock in there, so if they have the chance to go for it, they can either draw, depending on where this rock ends up, or playing a little tap to potentially get a 2 here, but I think they're okay with a 1 based on the comment made during their timeout.
Yeah, and something to highlight there is I think I heard you say that not only did Nicholas address what the first shot should be, but, also what happens after.
Yeah,
we gotta go.
It was hard to hear considering he wasn't mic'd up, but yeah, it's always worth just having that discussion of, if we're not going to make this perfect, how do we want to work with the rock?
As far as you can try, yeah. Hard, hard, hard.
Dailene Sweepers working hard to bring this as far as they possibly can.
Okay. Okay.
Unfortunately, coming up just a bit short.
I think you can throw it here left.
So I think leaving, as you predicted, the angle tap here. Is that what I think? Is that what we think we're playing?
Yeah, I think that's their only opportunity to get a rock onto the button here. They need to at least nibble the button, it looks like, based on the rock closest to the shot rock in the back there. And yeah, they're gonna just need to move the rock a couple, like 8 inches or a foot, to make sure they get there too.
So Jordan called it. Sarah Daniels throwing last rocks for Team MacMillan, trying to make a bit of an angle tap, pretty much to the button, nuzzled up to their own rock for 2.
Gotta go with it.
Line's good. Line's okay. Just for weight. Whoa, got a curl.
Sarah Daniels jumping up, totally prepared to help out on the sweep. It's looking pretty close.
Good, Sarah.
Yep, looks like just as they drew it up.
Perfect. So MacMillan taking 2 in 9. Taking us to a score of 7-4. We're going to be right back. Right after the break.
Handcrafted in Canada, Artline's ice pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best brew in the game. Hardline, join the revolution.
Welcome back to the George Preston Recreation Center. We're here in the 10th end. We've made it, Jordan.
One's good,
We're here in the 10th with Team MacMillan leading Team Pewarchuk 7-4 after Sarah Daniels makes a lovely angle tap to the button for her 2. And we actually have our first final here, Jordan, just to quickly update everybody on Sheet E. Happily finished up with a score of 10-4 over Stephanie Jackson-Bayer. So Happily will be pleased with that, as I believe their record now sits at 2-3, and they pretty much don't want to fall below 3 losses. And Steph Jackson-Bayer's team, unfortunately, with that loss, will fall to 2-4. So they're going to a bit wait to see what their fate and destiny is. But we'll keep you posted on what's happening all around the sheets. Of course, you can follow along on our YouTube channel at Curl BC. We're streaming all the games for you. And back to our feature game here. It looks like we're starting off with a couple rocks in play. What do you think the plan is here for the 10th end for each team?
This is where the game is now on the line, and you're gonna probably see from Team Pewarchuk a little bit more of a forced position here, because they need 2 here, and Team MacMillan is gonna be doing the exact opposite, trying to clear out as much as they can. So Pewarchuk doing the double corners to
Yeah.
help them get one underneath there before
Sure.
MacMillan can peel.
Same weight.
And yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see if there's the soft 2 where you just try and take your classic easy 2, or if they're gonna try and push for a 3 to try and win here instead of having to play an extra and steal.
Yeah, and what about, so one question I have is where we stand on, this is a relatively solid position lead for MacMillan. Do you think there was some debate, and I missed it, I admit, because we were giving an update, but do you think there was any debate, whether Sarah Daniels threw 1 or 2 of those first rocks through? Talk to us about what we think about throwing them in versus throwing them through. How do we feel about that?
Yeah, I think in this situation, I like the call to go in. It puts a little bit of pressure on the other team without too much risk for the most part. And I find that most teams will do that unless they're up a significant amount, where they don't want any rocks in play for potential jams. So sometimes when you're up 4 or 5 is when you might see people throw rocks through. But with only being up 2, they're probably just trying to keep a couple rocks in play that Pewarchuk needs to still think about.
Yes, I'm totally here for that. I think in this situation when it's still relatively close, by throwing them through, you're effectively saying, "Oh, here, put up your corner guards, go around them. We'll chase you." So this way, you're leaving lots of granite for Pewarchuk to have to contend with, as well as figure out a way to get around those guards. So yeah, I'm a fan of it too. Of course, now MacMillan just eliminating rocks. So with that rock being relatively available, Lindsay wastes no time getting it the heck out of there, and I don't think they hate that they're just getting their shooter way out of the way. Because now rocks are not your friend if you're Team MacMillan, again, currently being skipped by Team Sarah Daniels. Pardon me, currently being skipped by Sarah Daniels. Folks, the coffee is wearing off. Hang in there with me.
Yep, it's coming off.
Still Kayla.
It's really coming off. We're gonna have to go for it.
And as they are attempting this come around, we will give you a super quick update over on sheet A. Kristen Ryan's team stole 2 and 9, it looks like, against Corinne Brown. So they're now in an absolute barn burner, tied 6-6 and 10 with Corinne Brown having hammer. Is that what your eyes tell you too? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine too. She's okay with eyes.
Yeah. I think it's...
Okay.
Sorry.
And one of those examples, I would say, when you're looking at the scoreboard of just how long these 10-end games are and how you really always have to hang in there, it looks like Corinne had taken 4 in the third end for a relatively, commanding lead of 5-1. But Kristen Ryan, it looks like her squad just hung in there and fought back. And now here you are in the 9th end, very much in it with a score of 6-6. So we'll keep an eye on the action over there. And it looks like Dailene is now turning her attention to this center area. Jordan, she did get one around. Yeah, so I was going to say she made the investment in the corner guard, got one sunk around there, and then was switching to the center. So
it looks like they are pursuing the center still. It's going to be a timing issue for them with when do we pursue the rocks that are currently shot to potentially bring our rock behind the corner into play. You don't want to wait too long and let MacMillan develop a strong centerline presence, but you also don't want to end up leaving open rocks to
Easy, Sash, easy.
hit. So
right. Oh, what a nice shot.
Yeah, this.
So I think with Pewarchuk, needing 3 to tie, you're pretty much having to make most of the rocks that are yet to come count. Is that what you see also?
Yeah, they've only got 3 rocks remaining, and they've got 2 in the house. And MacMillan is going to, for the most part, hit any rock they can get access to. Oh, and they've just cleared the house a little more. And it's going to be a situation where you're going to have to keep locking onto this
Yeah, same speed.
rock here.
Yeah, that was great.
And in the next 2, try and remove some of those reds without leaving an easy removal of your own stones. So the precision is going to have to be pretty tight these next couple
Yeah,
shots.
we're here more.
Okay, room right now.
So
wanna go
third,
back one?
Kayla
The
Wilson
back one?
with her second shot,
We're
trying to
back
squeeze
one,
in there to
back
really
one.
Let's get it. Whoa.
set things up
Back it.
to
Whoa,
make
easy curl.
life tricky for the MacMillans
Easy curl.
as they try to just keep chipping away at the blue stones
That one came down a lot.
to finish
Good
up
call.
this game.
Nice call.
Nice shot.
Yeah, that's going to keep the double opportunity away from Sarah Daniels unless, you play off of the red. I'm not sure what the angles look like on the ice, but it might be able to catch that side blue on the way
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. I think we
It at
gotta
least
move
opens
some
up
stuff around, right? They're 1, 2,
more
and
rocks
they're-
for MacMillan to remove on their next shot.
Okay. Hitting 3/4.
I imagine throwing a fair bit of weight here, trying to rearrange quite a lot of granite. I think the more the better you get moving here for Sarah Daniels with her first rock in 10.
Whoa. Close. Whoa.
So fairly effective shot because she's opened up that blue, and I recognize it still has backing, but
I think
it's
I do
a bit
this for now
fortuitous
and
to
then
wind
move
up
it.
with another,
Move it.
another red rock still sitting the 4-foot
Right. So I think I hit this for now.
that
See where she blasts.
Pewarchuk is going to have to deal with in order to try to bring that outside blue one into play. So
Yeah, for sure.
pretty good outcome.
Because they're going to have to make 2 rocks.
I just knows this, and I just kind of.
Well,
I need
almost
one of my boots to stay.
almost
Yeah.
3 rocks the next
Move
one,
3
depending
rocks.
on what happens here. Leave the
This
house.
for now.
It ended up, the MacMillan rock ended up in a pretty good
nice
position to prevent
Got it.
any major rock removal.
So Dailene Pewarchuk with her first in 10.
10. 9, 8. We're perfect.
Looking to rearrange things so that she winds up with a shot with her last to try to score 3 needed to tie the game.
Yeah, just
So
make
pretty
the
interesting
bubble.
outcome. It's hard to see from our angle whether Sarah Daniels is
Play it for no.
taking the
Hit it, make the double.
attempting the double here.
From what they tapped, it looks like they're just concerned with nosing it.
Okay.
And